Welcome back. This is Craig Lester from Rural Roots Canada, where we amplify Canadian agriculture. And we have Charlotte Wasylik joining us from Chatsworth Farm. Tell us a little bit, Charlotte, about the farm and the upcoming Alberta Open Farm Days.
We are a mixed farm, and thanks for having me, Craig. We're a mixed farm, and our family has we raise beef cattle predominantly, sheep, ducks, geese, chickens, and turkeys, and then we have grains and legumes on our farm near Vermilion, Alberta. And we do a lot of farm to table programming for our farm extension program. And one of those is Alberta Open Farm Days, and that's coming up on so I have a cat right here who's getting very clingy with me on Saturday, August 19th, and then 20th. Our farm participates just on the 19th, but it is a whole weekend event throughout the province.
You mentioned there that this is much more than just 1 day or 2 days for your
Mhm.
farm. Tell us a little bit about why you embrace the 365-day a year extension program.
We started really doing that 365 days at the start of COVID in 2020 within March, because that's when we were calving. And of course, all the schools were closed, and our friends and our neighbors had all their kids staying at home. And while we had a lot going on, it didn't really seem to change our daily life too very much. It certainly had an impact on their lives and what their daily routine looked like. So I was inspired by the Cincinnati Zoo. They were doing virtual safaris, and I thought that would be something that was just really unique and fun. And I thought that I could do that as well, because we might not have as many species as a zoo, but we certainly have lots of animals, ones that are very friendly. And with calving season, you just have something new to show. So every hour sometimes, so you are never without something cute to share. So I started doing virtual farm tours, and I did them a couple of times a week. And it just was something that people embraced and they really appreciated. And it was just a lot of fun, no matter if they were 5 years old or 50 years old. And that extension continued on as putting it into in-person practice by hosting Alberta Open Farm Days for the first time that year. We'd always been aware of Alberta Open Farm Days, and it was on our radar, but it just never seemed to work out. But it was at that point in 2020 where it seemed silly if we didn't, because we had built that following, we had built that engagement, and people were asking if they could come visit the farm. So it was that perfect connection.
And so if people come to the farm on August 19th, what are they going to see? Who are they going to be able to interact with? You have quite the list of people going to be on the farm.
We do. This is our fourth year hosting, our fourth year in a row. And each year we're able to add a little bit more, whether that's from visitors suggesting different pieces that they want to see, or just my own idea gathering throughout the year. Usually right after the event, I start planning for the following year. And for this year, we're really able to add so many new elements. And it's thanks to our sponsors and our partners who have allowed us to do such as we have done. And that includes, we have live music this year, which is brand new. We've never had that before. So we have Edmonton singer-songwriter Mallory Chipman, who is going to be performing from her brand new EP, and it's all about birds and nature. So it's really fitting. We also have a seed planting station. Our main event site takes place pretty much in our front yard, which is also an alfalfa field. And so visitors will be able to plant alfalfa sprouts or alfalfa seeds, and then they can get sprouts. And we're going to have the progression so people can see what it looks like. They should only take about 5 days to sprout. So it's not quite instant gratification, but as close to it as you can get. And then they can take it home and put those sprouts, just admire them on their kitchen window, or put those on their steaks or salads or steaks, salads, or sandwiches. And then we also have our barbecue lunch, which is the second year that we've been doing this. We use our farm hot dogs, and so they're made with our beef. And then also the buns this year are going to be made with our red fife wheat flour. So we've taken the flour to a bakery in Edmonton, and they're going to be baking those buns for us, and then we're going to be picking them up. So those are some of the components that are happening at the main yard site, as well as our big artisan market. This year is the biggest market that we've ever had. We have 18 vendors, and they are artisan makers or they are farmers like our farm or something similar. So we will have copper jewelry. We will have two distilleries. We have another farm who does a lot of preserves with peppers. There are one vendor is making samosas, cupcakes, you name it. We pretty much have everything that one could want or desire from artisan market. So that's taking place. We also have some interactive displays and activities that visitors can take part in, whether that's grinding their own flour. So we have almost a 100-year-old millstones that we purchased from just some other farmer in Vegreville. They were an older couple and they were selling them because no one in their family wanted these millstones, and the Ukrainian name for them is a zhorna. And so we have those very old millstones. We have our little tabletop mill that we use to grind our flour. And then my dad built a more modern version of the zhorna with concrete millstones. So people can see the different types and the styles. And then we have some different displays. So we're working with our veterinarian to do a calving demo and then hopefully a carcass demonstration. So there's a plastic carcass with magnets. And so you can show visitors all the different primals. So we're working on that as well. We have our machinery demonstrations that we have throughout the day. So that includes baling straw bales or moving bales onto a trailer. And then we have our farm and garden tours. So the garden tours take place where all of those many activities are happening. And then our farm tours, we go around our farmyard, take a look at all of the animals. Individuals get to hold the baby chicks and we hatch those out especially for the event. So they're just a couple of days old. And then we look at the sheep and the pigs are new this year, the cattle, the horses, and the poultry.
Wow. I hope people were writing things down there because there's a lot to take in, and it is like every single possible corner of the farm and culinary experience that you can get out of that. So much to learn. What are you hoping people take away when they come back? It feels like it's the full, sorry to use a pun here, but the full meal deal.
I think it is really. There's something for everyone, and visitors get the chance to experience sights and sounds and oftentimes smells that they might not ever get or they have never had before coming to the farm. So it leaves them with that full connection and that full understanding of what a farm looks like. And of course, every farm is different, and there are over 100 farms participating in Alberta Open Farm Days, and certain visitors will kind of go from one farm to another. But especially with ours, we're the only farm within an 80-kilometer radius of the town of Vermilion. So if anyone is in that area, we're really the only farm. And we're just hoping that visitors can come and learn from us, ask those questions. They might be burning questions, and just understand that what you see on Yellowstone isn't an actual thing that happens on most farms. So take that curiosity and that willingness to learn more and really put that into practice.
Amazing. I guess you mentioned in regards to that you've been adding to it over the 4 years, sort of thing. How big of a jump do you make every single year? Can you compare it to what it looked like last year?
Last year was pretty similar, but we didn't have the music and we didn't have the seed planting stations and we didn't have the calving demonstrations. So there's certain little activities that we have added on because we have such exceptional sponsors this year. We've been able to increase in small bounds. And then also on the other side, we also didn't have pigs last year, and we decided to get into pigs in September in 2022. So that will also be another brand new thing that visitors will get to see. And for me, it's really important to add those new elements, not necessarily animals, because there is always a limit to the animals that we can have on the farm. But on the day of, we're definitely able to add different pieces and make those unique and special because we want people to come back year after year and we want their experience to be different each time.
That's fantastic. And I guess tell us the importance of communicating what goes on the farm, and I guess in rural areas and where what goes into agriculture and food production to maybe people. I don't want to just limit it to urban people, but to people in general in regards to who may not understand or what goes into it.
Well, there are definitely the urban outreach that we try and reach quite a bit, because not a lot of individuals who live in cities have that opportunity to come out to a farm. They don't have a best friend who has a farm anymore. That separation gets bigger and bigger almost every year. Whereas with our rural community members, they know someone who has a farm, and they probably know lots of people who have farms, but they still might not know various things about different aspects of farming, whether that might be poultry, whether that might be pigs. Even for us, we have never had our pigs have babies before. We've never had a litter of pigs before. So that's going to be something that we're going to be experiencing for the first time in November. So there's always something to learn. Even if you're fully immersed in farming, there's still pieces that are going to surprise you, and you're going to really just have to wrap your head around them. Some of the things that are important and that we've had come up as questions to us before is, we are excellent farmers. We're very poor ranchers. We are not very good at throwing a lariat. We don't use horses every day to move our cattle, but one thing that is important for visitors to know, and it really amplifies that, is you'll see that we have quite a few cattle, but in the summer we don't have very many at the farmyard because they're all out on pasture. The majority of our herd are in Saskatchewan right now, and we bring them home in the fall. So we have a smaller group at the farmyard for open farm days, and it doesn't really showcase our herd to its best, but that's how it has to work, especially when the weather is so dry and we're not getting a whole lot of rain. But we also have 2 horses, and we bring them. I have them at my yard, so we have 2 yards, and so everything happens at the main yard. So I bring my horses to the main yard, and everyone gets to pet them and have great interactions with the horses. But one question that we had a couple of years ago from a visitor, they were expecting that we would have far more horses because we have such a large herd of cattle. And so that was something that maybe for some people is something that they don't realize, that even though you have cattle doesn't mean you have to have horses, doesn't mean you have to have a lot of horses, or that you use them all the time to work with those cattle. So just some of those nuances that we have happening during our day allows people to get a better understanding of what farming actually looks like.
Fantastic. Charlotte, anything you'd like to add that I haven't asked you?
Well, Alberta Open Farm Days is happening on Saturday, August 19th. It is a free event, and so it's part of the mandate for Alberta Open Farm Days that all farms are able to open their doors to visitors, whether they are rural, whether they are urban. And some farms might have ticketed items, whether that's maybe tractor trailer rides, maybe it's pony rides, something like that. But admission is always free. And then one thing that's really important for our farm, if people are wanting to visit, and the same goes for many other farms, please keep your pets at home. You'll see that we really love animals, but for the health and safety of our animals, pets need to stay at home. And then bring cash for the barbecue and the market, and just bring some extra clothes and just get ready for a really fun day out at the farm.
Well, Charlotte, this sounds like a can't miss event. I definitely encourage anyone that's looking for a good time on that weekend to head out to Chatsworth Farm on August 19th. Thank you so much
Okay.
for your time today, Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Craig.